question. Which came first? The mushroom or the spore? I've never started it there. All things work in cycles. Let's begin with the spore. Shrink yourself down. Like Alice in Wonderland, eat the bottom of that Amanita muscaria. The bottom part makes you grow smaller, the top part makes you grow taller. Eat the bottom part. Eat enough of the bottom part to shrink yourself down to about 7 microns long. How many microns long are you now? 7. As compared to what you just were, roughly 2 meters, most of you. I see one 1 meter person in the room who's sleeping. So what's the math on that? A micron is a millionth of a meter. So 2 million times divided by 7 times width. You're much, much smaller. And you weigh very, very little. Imagine yourself drifting on the breeze, carried gently on an updraft, at the whim of the wind. And you're hoping, you're full of hope, you're hoping to land somewhere nice. Fairly soon. Somewhere nice. Somewhere moist. Somewhere warm, but not too hot. Somewhere delicious.
Now the truth is, most spores don't get that lucky. That's why mushrooms make millions, billions, or even trillions of spores. Maximum of about 5% of mushroom spores will germinate on a petri dish of nutrified agar meat, much less out in the wild world.
So what are the chances? For it to work out, you gotta get lucky. And for the sake of this exercise, let's all get lucky tonight. So, there you are. You found your warm, moist, delicious place. And you whip out your germ tube and you start to grow. Your hyphae elongates and branches, fusing back together, touching yourself, branching some more, ramifying through your substrate. All the time sensing, feeling, smelling, tasting, touching, sensing light, sensing gravity, sensing chemistry, sensing vibration, sensing temperature, all the while sensing. And you're hungry. good substrate, that fertile, rich substrate in which you live, and you're out-gesting your enzymes, and you're bringing it back into your center, always moving outward in all directions, extending, reaching, searching.
Now, when they were first studying fungal sexuality, they started studying different types of fungi, the mycologists, and in some of the earliest fungi that evolved with sexual reproduction, some mycologists tried to figure out why that happened. And they realized that it was due to, with all this clonal regeneration, a lot of the same all around, and kind of a lot of, like, almost like sibling rivalry, but with clones of oneself. And they determined that sex and sexual reproduction arose as a response, as a solution
to hunger. So, you're hungry for that wood or duff or dung or whatever you're eating. But you're also hungry for sex. You want to find another mycelium to mate with.
So as many of you may know, some of you may also not know, when a spore germinates, at least in many mushroom species, not all, that mycelium that results has only one nucleus, and it's haploid. That means, like a sperm or an egg of a human, it's only half a set of genetic information. Not enough to create another human or another mushroom. It has to find another haploid mycelium with which it can connect, fuse, fertilize, be fertilized by, and then reproduce with.
So how are we going to make it happen? It's a big world out there. Spores can go far. It can be lonely for a little primary mycelium, a little mononucleate haploid mycelium like us. There's no online dating for mushrooms. There's no singles bars. There's no cruising in the park. Well, actually, maybe there is. I think there is. But, so how are we going to make it happen? How are we going to find our mates? With pheromones, of course. Just like all the other living things. Pheromones. So we put them out there. Chemical, smelly attractants. And we listen, we search, we smell, we taste, we look.
Well, how do we do it as humans? How do we find mates other than cruising in the park and online dating and whatever the kids do these days. We smell each other. Yes. What else do we do? We look at each other. What do you do maybe after you have done those two things? Touch. What's that?
Poke someone on Facebook.
Oh, I've never done that before. Does it feel good?
It's a slippery slope.
At least it's slippery.
Exchange genetics.
What about taste? Oh yeah.
So, fungi, mycelium, hyphae, are covered in sensory receptor molecules. And it turns out that the sensory receptor molecules on fungi, some of them very, very closely resemble in structure and in composition the same ones that we have in our noses, and in our eyes.
So, do mushrooms see? Do mushrooms smell? Do mushrooms taste? Maybe, something like that. But we know that they listen for each other's pheromones. They pick them up and lock in key. If it fits, they're gonna grow towards each other. So, again, it's this luck thing. Mostly it's a lonely world for primary mycelia. They'll grow, they'll eat stuff. They may never, ever get to fruit. So many people die single in this world. And it's like that for mushrooms too. They never make mushrooms, they never make spores. They just live their lives, they do their work. They might have friends, hopefully. It could be a good life. But as a parent,
it's a wonderful thing for me, for my experience, for myself, my truth, my reality, is that sexual reproduction is a wonderful thing.
so, for the sake of this exercise, let's all get lucky tonight. So we've all picking up some nice pheromones from somebody else of our same species. And that delicious pheromone indicates that that other mycelium is of compatible mating type with us. So we grow preferentially in that direction. Moving energy, moving focus from all other parts of the mycelium to grow towards that other mycelium that we are attracted to. When we get there, oh yeah, we touch. And we fuse and our cell walls dissolve and our cell fluids flow into each other and nuclei copy and pass from cell to cell through the entire network reciprocally, not just in one direction, but in both directions, until our new unified self is fully dikaryoticized. Two nuts, dikaryotic. That's what that means. Di, two. Carry, nut, otic, dikaryotic.
Mushroom-forming fungi are unique among terrestrial organisms in that the main part of their life cycle is in this dikaryotic phase. For humans, the dikaryotic phase is extremely brief. It's the moment the sperm meets the egg, and as soon as meiosis and mitosis happens, that dikaryotic phase is gone. It's just a flash in the pan in our species. But for the mushrooms, it's the majority of their life. And this dikaryotic phase can last thousands of years. Crazy. So cool.
I think of the dikaryotic phase as a committed partnership. You could call it marriage, you could call it living together, you could call it whatever you want, life partnership. But I think it's profound. And once united in this dikaryon, they stay together. This is a lifelong commitment. And it doesn't mean that they don't see other mycelia.
Because actually that does happen. So, who's familiar with the matsutake mushroom? One of the most delicious and sexy smelling mushrooms in the world, if you ask me. That mushroom is constantly reincorporating new genetics into the mycelial mat. Even spores from its own fruiting bodies will germinate and be reincorporated with the mycelium of the parents, creating a vast polykaryotic system where the entire mycelial mat, the shiro as it's called in Japan, which means white, but the mycelial mat or the shiro contains many nuclei, which we can think of as a large family with many partners and many children. It's kind of inbred, but we can let them be okay. We can be okay with them doing that because that's their way.
Call mushrooms like that, let the thing on and off.
Oh yeah. That's how their species thrives. And so when we refer to mushrooms, and we use pronouns for mushrooms, what pronouns do we use for mushrooms? That's a good question. That's a good question. Because with this way, the dikaryotic system being the majority of their life cycle, if you think of the nucleus as the brain of a cell, and the mycelium is the body of the fungus, it's like two brains in one body. So I think they is actually embracing the pluralism and is the most appropriate pronoun for referring to mushrooms.
Yep.
On multiple levels, it works for humans too. It's not only about gender, but also we can consider our microbiome as part of us, and that can be part of our pluralistic pronoun as well, if we choose to go there.
So, where were we?
Oh, we just hooked up. But wait, don't get too excited. We don't get to have sex yet. We need to eat more. We need to get really strong. We need to drink a lot of water. A lot of water. Hold on.
Shit, now I'm gonna have to pee before the show. But seriously, it's been raining, and so don't forget to drink water and stay hydrated. You still need to stay hydrated even though you're soaked on the outside.
So we were drinking water, eating substrate, and it's delicious. And it's even better with a partner. Sharing a meal is always nicer than eating by yourself, isn't it? And with these two half sets of genes, we're now stronger than ever. Like they say down in the Bay Area, stronger together. Yeah, united we stand. What are some other little things like that? The people united, never be divided. Two heads are better than one. Teamwork makes the dream work. Yes. There's no I in team. But there isn't. So where were we? I forget. Oh, carry on. So strong. So strong. So vigorous. And so we're able to eat better. We're able to defend ourselves better. We're able to be more sensitive, more aware of our surroundings and our community, our interspecies community, in our substrate and beyond. So. Are we sated yet? No? Okay, eat some more, drink some more. Okay, are we sated yet? Oh, feeling good. And it's been raining. And it's not too cold. I think it's nice conditions for fruiting. Do you? Because we both have to be in on this together. And one of us can't decide this on our own. We have to make this decision together. Yeah? You want to do this? Are you ready?
Yes,
All right. It is time to erect the temples of sex. For that's all mushrooms are. Think about how much of this mushroom is actually sexual cells. It's just the surface of the gills. The rest of it, beautiful and functional sacred space. So yeah, temples of sex, a home for the sacred act of union. And when those hyphal tips swell up on the surface of the gill, engorged with nutritious cytoplasm, the two nuclei in the newly formed basidia finally meet. We've been hanging out together for a long time now. Finally we get to touch. It's kind of like back in the olden days in certain cultures when you couldn't have sex before you're married. It's kind of like that. For mushrooms. It's kind of out of fashion now, isn't it? So, yeah, okay. Finally, the two nuclei get to consummate this lifelong love affair. And they touch and they fuse just as the two mycelia had done previously. And the genes mix and mingle together and split until 4 new baby spores emerge from each basidium.
Sometimes it's not 4, sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's another number. But in most mushrooms, it's 4.
And as the spores develop, they're just perched there, standing delicately on the little pedestal of the sterigma. Trying to keep their balance. Oh, but they're so light, it's really easy. It's really easy for them. And they're just perched, growing, getting ready for the big journey, hardening their shell, becoming filled with nutritious nutrients for the initial growth spurt. But those spores gotta get off. How's it gonna happen? Those spores gotta get sweet. They gotta get so sweet. So they got this little sweet spot on the foot, a little sweet spot on the hip, and those two sweet spots. What happens, like, if we're in this kitchen, this outdoor kitchen, in this rainy, humid weather, what happens if you leave out some sugar on the table? It's gonna get all wet. Water will condense on those sugar crystals. Water condenses on the sugar crystals, and these two sugary sweet spots on the spore grow droplets of nectar. And as these two droplets of nectar grow, eventually they're going to touch too. And what happened to the nuclei when they touched? What happened to the mycelia when they touched? Same thing. Fused together, and instantly the spore is shot off from the sterigma, shot into the air from its delicate little perch at the extreme acceleration of over 25,000 Gs. But it doesn't last long. Very quickly, this slows down. The air becomes thick. For a tiny spore, the air is so thick. Your mass is puny compared to anything. And so, as one mycologist wrote, the spore does something kind of like a Wile E. Coyote trajectory. It's like, so it's just enough to get it out off the edge of the tube and into the middle, off the edge of the gill and into the space in between, and down into a drift. Floating, drifting away, carried up on an updraft into the air. And this is happening by the millions, by the billions. Until the mushroom has expended so much energy that it's done. And the energy is all done. And the fruiting body melts back into the earth. And the cycle is continued. But not all mushrooms do it quite like that. The whole aerial spore dispersal thing, it's not for everyone. Some mushrooms are a bit more ecosexual in their approach. Rather than doing it all by themselves, pumping out moisture from the tissues to create humid air, to create condensation on the sugar alcohols that they're pushing out of their spores. Others need a touch from something other than a fungal. Puffball is a classic example of what mycologists have long called the gasteroid fungi. Formerly in a whole what is it? Was it a class? Whole class of their own, the Gasteromycetes. These gasteroid, now gasteroid, because they figured out that, well, they're not related to each other, they're related to all other kinds of mushrooms, and they've all independently evolved similar alternative lifestyles, if you will. And finding other ways than ballistosporing, that classic spore ejaculation system, to get their spores out in the world. And so they produce their spores, usually on the inside their inside their gasters. What's a gaster? A stomach.
Who the fuck produces gametes in their stomachs? Stomachs are for digestion. What the fuck?
We need a paradigm shift. We need to call these mushrooms uteroid fungi. And the puffball is a classic example of a uteroid fungus. Puffballs have their spores produced in what's called a gleba, a fairly undifferentiated mass within the perineum. Not the perineum, the perineum. It's the membrane that covers the whole thing. Truffles do something similar. And bird's nest fungi, they have their way. Stinkhorns, yet another. The puffballs. It's almost like they breathe. And when they're mature, the gleba becomes all powdery. And when they're really mature, in most species at least, the top opens up and there's a little pore or slit that opens up, and it's called the ostiole. Has a similar root word to the os, which is the opening of the cervix in mammals. So it's really like a uterus. Except the uterus is an extremely powerful muscle. Smooth muscle. And the perineum is not a muscle. It's a membrane. So it needs an external touch to help get those spores out. So when a raindrop hits, or when they're played with by a human child, stomped on, or thrown at a friend by a childish human, And they will love you for it. What about stinkhorns? Who here has ever encountered a stinkhorn? Oh,
But on the East Coast, tons of people encounter stinkhorns. Who's camped and camp stinkhorn? Hey neighbors.
did you see it or smell it first? Which happened? Smelled it first? Stinkhorns. Born of an egg. A peridium encasing a phallus. On the early morning of a warm, moist night, not unlike tonight, the stinkhorn eggs rupture. The peridium split. The spongy shaft quickly elongating with the addition of much fluid from the mycelium. Lubricated by a clear jelly, the head and the shaft push skyward. Seeking the morning sun. And by daylight, there it stands in full glory. And stinking in the heat of the new day. Oh, the flies. Carrion beetles. Carnivorous wasps. Dogs. Slugs. Snails. Dung beetles. Carrion beetles. All come to feast on the sticky, stinky forest. Oh, it's a party at the Stinkhorn. All the little animals are there, eating their fill of spores. Oh. Until all that sticky, stinky spore goo is carried away, the head left denuded soft quickly becomes flaccid. And then the fly takes a dump. 20 million spores deposited in one shot. Let's hope those spores got lucky and landed in a good spot. Wow. Who here has ever eaten a stinkborn egg?
Wow, a lot of people. This is cool on the East Coast. I have two. Tell me, do tell. Tell us all. How was it? You can start.
Well, the process of like popping them out of their egg.
You popped them out of there.
Like it's just like this jelly mass, and I rinsed that off.
It's like somebody stepped on the bottle of KY.
It was radishy.
Oh yeah.
The big ones were like
Sulfuric compounds, yeah.
more intense.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Did you eat them cooked?
Yeah, I sliced them,
Yeah.
sauteed them.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else?
I had mine cooked as well. It was kind of musty.
Kind of musty.
Yeah.
What about?
Oh, they're good.
Oh
It's like eating a fish eyeball or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah.
It's larger.
Well, I ate them once too. I found them to be, a textural wonder. I think it was pretty certainly the strangest thing I've ever eaten. Maybe even the strangest thing I've ever put in my mouth. Although I've been with some weirdos before. back. So imagine this. You've got a small latex balloon. Inside of that, like somewhere between sex lube and like fridge temperature chicken stock. And then inside of that is the gleba, with what becomes the sticky, stinky spore slime. It's not so bad at that stage, but it's kind of like a little bit gummy. Yeah, kind of like you said, a little radishy. It's got some of that brassica funk going on. Sulfuric compounds. It hasn't developed the strong fecal carry-on spermatic kind of notes that come in a little later in the maturity of the mushroom. Although maybe there was some of the spermatic. What do you think?
I got a hint of that.
Yeah. And then inside of that, the actual tissue of the stalk is kind of like it's kind of like spongy and crunchy, and kind of like really firm foam rubber. And inside of that, because the stalk is hollow, it too is filled with again a kind of gelatinous substance. Fried in butter? Anyone? Let's try it. Let's try it.
So in China, the the basket stink corn, the veiled lady, as they call it, Dictyoflora induciata, is cultivated and quite popular as a luxury delicacy, food item. They just take off the head, so you just eat the shaft and the veil. Or you eat the eggs. I actually found them at the Berkeley Bowl grocery store one time. They're about the size of a hen's egg, and quite beautiful with a purplish kind of peridium. It was good. I cloned it. It went bacterial. I'm gonna try to clean it up with some hydrogen peroxide. Has anybody ever met the stinky squid stinking horn?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a bit more, well, it's less on the phallic side, it looks a bit more vulval. Would you agree? Yeah. The smell is reminiscent of rotting seal.
But you gotta get really close up to smell it. It doesn't it doesn't signal you from across the forest like the phallus do.
I don't know. It's pretty weird.
What about those ones that look like, kind of like the geodesic dome, but they're pink and fleshy? Y'all encountered those? Those are crazy. A friend in Florida sent me some pictures. One looked like a wide open butthole.
I'm serious.
That's the gay porn.
Of course it is. It is. Who likes truffles? Truffles. Yeah, truffles. Truffles are good. So it turns out that some of those pheromones that fungi make are quite similar to mammalian pheromones. Certain fungi at least. Truffles in particular. Mimicking very closely the sex pheromones of the male pig. Boar balls. Delicious smelling pork. Which humans and pigs, our skin and perhaps our pheromones are also remarkably similar. The fat of a pig lard is the most similar to our own skin oils of any other animal fat that I know of. And so maybe we have something in common. I like to think so. And so the pigs sniff them out. They want to eat them. So we train dogs instead because they don't want to eat them. They just want a little meat snack and some love. Much easier to control than a 400-pound sow who is ready to rip your hand off to get that truffle. Oh yeah. So, truffles. Those pheromones are the reason that truffles are some of the most expensive foods in the world. What do they make you feel?
Anybody? What does a truffle make you feel? when you smell that, when you eat that? Anything? Do you feel anything? Does it affect you? Has anybody ever eaten a truffle? Or smelled one? Couple people, heads nodding. People aren't as vocal about this one as the stink ones. Too dirty,
Okay, it's a private matter, baby. And so it is. Things happen in private sometimes, like truffle eating. Is it because you don't want to share them, or just because you don't want to be seen in truffle ecstasy? Well, you think humans like them? Fuck, squirrels are nuts about truffle. Squirrels cannot get enough. Red-backed voles, they got only one thing on their mind, and that's truffle. Flying squirrels, especially, they're all about it. They swoop on that shit. Literally.